lost in space and time for over 10,000 years, on a mission they were never meant to return from. They have returned from the horrible secrets of space. They are the Comic Shop.
Oh boy, Aaron, you are off camera here. Come on, come over.
Greetings and salutations, humans of Earth, and welcome to the Comic Shop Does a Podcast with some new retooling graphics here. Look at us. We're looking pretty fresh and fly with some pink and yellow.
Word to your mother.
It's not lost on me that those are the color choices that were used here. I will be your Sorcerer Supreme, Aaron Z. Lee.
I'm Evan Coy, attorney at law. We are here with a couple of special guests today. Our very special, or actually, let's just start with our regular guest star.
My guest star, top billing.
Just regular.
I'm Alex Dexter, a frequenter of the comic shop, and I'm here to talk about my first comics.
Oh, and then we also have our very special guest star.
Oh, that's me, Martin Kinney.
And then lurking in the background here, we can barely see some arms popping through. We have a special guest star. The Whalen brothers are here. Scott, Dan, thanks for being here. They're our last customers of the day. Scott, tell us about what was your first comic? We're talking first comics today. Get right on that microphone too, if you can.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, that sounds great.
All right. So, I was homesick one day, watching I think reruns of Santa Barbara and Days of Our Lives, and my dad went out to go and pick up some ginger ale and some like saltines, and while he was at the store, he grabbed me a copy of What If number 13, which was what if Professor Xavier became the Juggernaut.
Excellent.
And it got me started. It was a Jim Lee book. The art was gorgeous.
Oh, wow.
The storyline was fantastic, and I've been an X-Men fan ever since.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that with us.
No, absolutely.
One of these days we will get you on, because I feel like
I'm excited.
I would like you to talk X-Men with Aaron.
That sounds great.
Because I feel like Aaron and you and Aaron, Martin, do you have a good X sense? He's shaking his head yes, but I don't believe him.
Up to a certain point.
He's wearing Cerebro right now.
I pick and choose everything after,
Feel
like...
creeped sometimes because I'm so into the X-Men. You know?
But I feel like there's an X-Men episode that eventually will drag you out and have you sit with us the full time. But
Eventually, we got to do the animated series. We got to do like a running...
yeah.
I'm rewatching season 2 right now.
Are you?
Excellent.
The voices are still just as corny but fantastic at the same time.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Like, I find when I read those characters in books and stuff, it's always those voices that I hear back. And it's...
Especially Wolverine, the crunchiness. You know?
Yeah, Cal Dodd, man. He's still around. Well, he's coming back.
Kicking.
He's coming back to this. Have you ever heard him sing? He's a really good singer too. Yeah, that was his forte.
So what you're telling me is in the new X-Men cartoon, there'll be a musical interlude featuring Wolverine?
I hope so. I mean, how
He'll sing the theme song instead.
he'll sing the 1980s
As
X-Men
Patch.
theme song. And, oh my god! Like no, everyone else would hate it, but I would love it. Like he comes out in the suit with the eye patch. I mean, come on, forget about it. I'm on board with that.
X-Men 97 is next year, right?
I think you're right.
Something?
Yeah, allegedly.
All right. Welcome back to
Haha. To a sidebar.
Martin.
sidebar
Take
quest.
that microphone back. The Whalen brothers, Danny, Scott. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys. You're some of our favorite customers. And again, we will talk X-Men one day.
Love that shirt too. Need some space.
easy,
I
guys.
dig it.
Take care, guys. Oh boy, that was a fun sidebar there.
Yeah, why not?
In our first non-fact check moment of the night, X-Men 97, I believe Jerome Moore is involved with that in a way.
Yeah,
I'm unfamiliar with that
I'm
name.
gonna move this back just a little
Which
bit.
will...
Alex is a little
Alex
bit bigger
is taller
than
both of
us.
Yep. When we tested this out.
So if I sit up, does it ruin it?
Ditch your good posture, please.
Okay, no, you're good. I think that worked.
We need
out very
more
well.
hunch,
Oh, wow.
Alex. Like pretend you've been a comic book artist for 60 years.
So shout out to Martin. Actually, shout out to Martin for making this happen.
Yes.
Martin went and found copies of the first comics we ever remember reading as kids. I don't know where he found them, who he had to shake down, but much appreciated. I truly enjoyed, and when we get to mine, I can't believe how much I remembered from the book.
When Evan saw the cover, he was almost as excited as when he was playing with the Viewmaster last week. So that
Yo,
was
the
kind of
Viewmaster, the Viewmaster was sweet.
Yes, you did. You loved. That brought me a lot of joy to see you so
You guys
happy.
remember
yeah.
Viewmaster?
Of course I do.
Is that the little thing you put the circular
with
thing
the-
and then
with the
click and you
slide,
see a
yep.
different picture?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's right over there.
So the funny part is,
we
like,
never
you could
clean
just make that now pretty easily, like with stuff around your own house.
You know,
You, Alex,
duct
you
tape and a
could. You
banana.
could. We could not. So.
did we
Ooh.
lose some audio?
Yep, I know. I kicked out your headphone by accident here. That's my
Oh,
fault.
so we didn't really lose the audio.
No,
I was the
you
only one who
lost the audio.
So I just look like a crazy person.
Always.
But you know, what would be interesting is if somebody put together like however many panels of a comic as the little slide clicker. That could be kind of fun.
Not to completely go off the rails. It's pretty much just a piece of cellulose like pressed into cardboard. So you just need a way to expose the image onto that, and
You could probably just print onto acetate and cut it and
Yeah.
put it in between.
yeah, you could. Sounds like we need a ruby lith.
Is that Martin providing our ASMR portion of portion of the comic shop does a podcast
Oh my
today?
God.
Someone has to. I mean, it's.
We got to cover all the bases here. You know, I've been away for several weeks.
Yeah, what have you been doing?
Going to weddings. Friends are getting married.
Congrats on getting married.
No, I've been married for
Polygamy,
a
it's the
million
best.
years. Since 2015. How long is that now? Long time.
You're an old man.
7 years.
7 years. 7 years.
Has it really been that long?
7 years and 7 before that. 14 years. 14 years a lady.
Normally, someone says how long they've been married, and I'm like, I never thought it would last, but not in this case.
No, the Lees are kind of
yeah,
meant
you're
for
kind
each
of.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were already basically married. You know, like, because when you get married, everybody's like, oh, what is it like a lot different now that you're married? And like, it's exactly the same. The legal status has
The
just
Lees
changed.
never changing.
That's right. Ochungus forever.
Oh, Chungus. Alex, what you been up to?
Being injured.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I spent about a week laid up after hurting my back at work, and beyond that, just kind of nose to the grindstone. It's been kind of a slog of an end of summer and early fall as we get ready to go into the final wave of event season at work.
Ooh.
Now that the
Sounds
weather's getting rainy
haunted
and
trails.
cold,
Oh yeah.
time to get out there and do the toughest jobs of the year.
Yeah, next week I get to get in the bucket truck when it's probably going to be cold and crappy to fix a whole bunch of streetlights.
Always,
Perfect time.
always good time in the bucket truck. Martin, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I missed both Alex and Aaron last week since they both ditched us.
Bucket ditched him.
Yeah, I was I like prednisone, Flexerol, and Toradol, just sort of trying to stay awake.
That would have been fun to have a drugged up
No.
Alex. We could just lay him on the floor and like get him to say crazy things. Maybe not.
Sort of
That
lay
would've been good.
still and just.
Anyway,
That
What are
definitely
we-
could happen.
what are we doing?
What are we doing? We're
Martin,
looking at-
what are we doing, Martin?
I'm typing.
Okay. We're gonna look at our first comics this week.
to the
and
phone cam.
And I think, do we want to start with you, Aaron? Just because is that your book? Or is
Oh
that,
yeah, this is Captain America number 413, baby.
Oh,
None of the rest of us would have picked that.
I'll take that. I think those are my notes.
Your notes. I'm just gonna throw your notes out.
Thank you.
We don't need those.
We
Where we're
don't.
going,
We
we
don't.
don't need notes.
All right, let's go to a document camera here. Let's see how this looks.
Oh
Not
yeah.
Too bad.
Look at this. Look at that nice golden
We gotta get delay
ombre.
on our monitor.
That golden to
Yeah, that's
to,
the-
paler gold
The
ombre.
crazy part of trying to watch Twitch, like while you're streaming, is the mind-boggling delay.
Yeah. So it is fun that Martin and Alex don't get to actually see this
No.
until 20 seconds later or whatever. But Cap 113.
413, baby. Yeah.
God,
so
that looks very.
What was the
familiar.
year on that one?
that was 1993. 1993.
Ooh.
I might have some stuff from before this. I'm not sure if I got it after the fact or if like a kid likes Ninja Turtles and they just like threw the comic at me. This is the first one I remember picking up off of. It was a newsstand case. It was not a spinner rack. It was at the old Crandall Drugs in
Mexico, New York.
Mexico, New York.
Kramit Drugs.
It was this, and then they did a reprint of Amazing Spider-Man #1. I think were my very, very first comics that I picked up and wanted specifically. And I mean, going back, there's a lot to love about this thing. Modam means murder. It's not Modoc. That is a female Modoc on that cover.
That's She-Modoc.
That's she Modoc.
Marvel being woke
Let's-
way back in the day.
Let's not assume the gender. Okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's a female Modoc.
Okay.
But
Femodoc.
But I think this is where I trace all my affinity for the MODOK
You
character
trace this?
and the what?
You trace this?
No, I mean
Oh.
I probably drew some of the things out of this when I was a kid, poorly. I hope I can find some of that.
That would
Oh,
be
there's
awesome.
actually chat going on, and I'm not paying attention. Keep going. Keep
Oh
going.
yeah. Anyway, there's a lot of nice stuff about this. Rick Levins did the art on this. He's the guy who took over for Adam Hughes. Adam Hughes did like an indie book. He did something that like sold out immediately, and he got a ton of offers to do other stuff. So he like left that book. Rick Levins is the guy who took over after that. But like this very much follows that classic Marvel structure of comic books where like there's a cover, and then the first page is also a cover. And like, what a great shot here! So you got your hero back here, Cap, on this stage, almost like a wrestling ring, and it's just like a Royal Rumble or whatever. I don't know the exact term here, like a battle royale. There we go,
Yeah.
where it's just every man for himself, and they're all coming, and they're all coming for Cap. We've got Shocker and Rhino, and it's even Stiltman.
Stiltman. What a terrible kid.
Man, coming for Cap.
You got the Wrecking Crew.
They're gonna
Everybody,
wreck
and then it's just Cap just swinging on through with that shield, just wiping out everybody.
Cap's a swinger.
Like they really
Cap's got a big back in this. Look at that.
they set up Cap to be real cool in this book. Like he's taking on everybody.
Not in mine.
Like, but I think this is also written by Mark Grunwald. Mark Grunwald, famously, his favorite character is Cap. He wrote Cap or edited Cap for, like 15 years or more. I didn't really know who he was, but in retrospect, I have a lot of respect for him.
You
And
turned the fan
he was
down.
highly respected in
Yes.
he was highly respected in the bullpen, and still is. In fact, Owen Wilson played a character that was created in honor of Mark Grunwald, I believe, right in the Loki series. I think his character.
I did not see that series yet.
I think his character is based on Mark Grunwald, and then here's Cap just like picking up people and like body slamming them.
Nobody said wow.
Wow. And then also, Martin always picks on me about this, but like so much of my own art has pink and yellow in it.
Anything you color. Wesley the robot is about the only thing that is not pink and yellow.
It's because it's in black and white,
Exactly.
so it's not in color yet. But we've got Diamondback and Snapdragon here, who are some femme fatales from the.
Snapdragon?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe this woman
Okay,
in the,
all right,
in the chainmail armor is named Snapdragon. Diamondback is
okay.
kind of like your Agent 13 type character, like the femme fatale who's an ally to Cap. They're
We'll
just
go
kinda-
with it.
they're
Never
kinda
fact
fighting.
check anything.
We've got Blackbird and Iron Maiden. Who could forget them?
How many characters are in this book?
As many as possible.
When we were flipping through it earlier, I was just like, I couldn't believe how many characters they crammed into 22 pages.
They are working so hard to make Cap a hit book. Like Rick Levins is drawing so much and doing stuff that, like, he could have easily been on an X book and like knocked it out of the park. I'm very impressed with his stuff, even now. Like how dynamic these fight scenes are. Like you got this character like zapping Modam with that, and the
I'm
storytelling.
getting whiplash on the camera here.
Martin, who is Modam? I know Modam is a female MODOK,
Yeah.
but like, is there anything beyond that? Do you know anything about Modam?
Never heard of this character until now.
Like West Coast Avengers type appearances is what I think I recall, but a little bit too
Is that as
J-list
cool
for
as
me.
the Great Lakes Avengers?
lower. What, West Coast Avengers?
Or the Oswego County Avengers.
Yes, we-
I think Phil's a member of that.
The Great Lakes
maybe.
Avengers are like the
Sorry.
throwaway
Sorry,
team
Phil.
in Deadpool.
All right, let's keep going.
But now we've got Falcon and Shang Chi.
Good lord, it is. It's every character is in this thing.
is that and Shang-Chi is still in his 70s?
That's right. He's still in his 70s outfit. He has not been updated yet. Falcon has maybe one of the worst costumes
is
I've
so
ever seen him
ugly.
in. Well, it's almost like a catfish, like on his forehead or something. I'm not sure what's going on there. But like this bullpen bulletins, it's never looked better. This is the pinnacle of bullpen bulletins. The only
The-
thing it's missing is a coolometer.
The 1992 was 1992 coolometer. 1992, 1993 bullpen bulletins are far and
Yep.
away the best, and not
Yes.
just because I was first introduced to comics, but like, oh, they're so good, so good.
And they feature what's coming out this week. You got your little Rick Palmer?
No,
Rick Parker.
Rick Parker.
There we go. Whereas it's got, I think it's Mark Grunwald saying, or no, it's Stan saying, 7 issues ago, our fantastic forefathers brought forth upon this company. And Mark Grunwald saying, great idea, eh, Tom? And then Tom DeFalco, famously the editor-in-chief at this time, says, maybe I'll declare my independence.
Whoa.
Hey.
And after that, he formed Image.
He did not. But like so many awesome fight scenes with like so many characters. Like if you're gonna do like a big fight scene with tons of characters, this is such a great idea.
This is a fun book because it's just every character fighting every character.
Titania hitting this guy from the he dodges this and then she hits the guy with the wrecking crew. Manbull, like if you remember from the Todd McFarlane Hulk run, he was in that. And then you've got Rhino and Manbull like hitting their heads. Like when you have these characters in there, and then you think about like what could they add to the fight. Like they really think about how everybody can add to the fight that's in this. And then you have Batroc the Leaper, who is just sitting in theater seats, just watching the fight.
Seems right.
And then I love this because Diamondback does a palm to the face of Snapdragon. What's that sound effect? It's Snap.
Oh,
Whoa.
snap.
It's like,
Oh,
is that the
snap.
same sound effect they use for like Gwen Stacy?
Oof.
Is it?
Oof.
You're probably right. But and then like you got Modam with like this other woman now contained in the metal there.
What an absurd character too. Like for the entirety of this book, just nonsense and how many characters can we pack on one page and then Modam.
And I love this. I love this too. Have you guys seen Obi-Wan Kenobi, the TV show?
No.
No.
Well, this isn't a huge spoiler, but at one point Obi-Wan Obi-Wan Kenobi is sneaking Leia out of an Empire base, and he hides her under a big coat.
Good.
And I love that so much because it is so dumb. Cap
So is the
Cap trying to
Empire.
sneak away from the fight, wearing a big cloak. And then Falcon's like, "Who's this guy making its way to the exit?" "Oh, it's Cap. I'll just fly you out of here, buddy."
It's
No
two
problem."
Steve Rogers in a trench coat.
And then look at this great like handshake. Like this is one of the best handshakes in the biz. This feels like it might be like an Andy Kubert swipe though.
One of the best handshakes
in the business.
Like look at that. I'm looking back through this. I
Just
want to rip this off
powerful
with some-
handshakes left and right.
Just Shang-Chi and Captain America shaking
That's Wesley
hands.
10. It's just going to be everybody
Yeah,
shaking
shaking
hands.
hands.
Close-ups of handshakes.
Walt Simonson did a book full of only splash pages. Mine's going to be only splash pages of handshakes.
Even better. Love it. Can't wait to see
And then
it.
Shang-Chi's he's getting in the mix. And one thing that I thought was ahead of its time, you see this Diamondback, half of her head is shaved. At the time, probably very like cutting edge and shocking. Now, I feel like that haircut is ubiquitous. Like long hair on one side and shaved on the other side.
I think if you go back to a lot of those late 80s, early 90s
When the
comics,
mullet died off,
there's a lot of like funky hairs in those early Spider-Mans where it's kind of punk rocky. And
the undercut just became a popular hairstyle.
I mean, when did Storm have her mohawk?
80s.
Late 80s.
Yeah.
Was it a Paul Smith thing?
I think so.
Yeah. And then you got Blackbird again. And then you got these guys on the AIM flyer things. Like the first comic I ever read, I was like, "Oh man, AIM is pretty cool." It's not really the case when you read more. But this I'm going to rip
I
this
love
off at
those.
some point. I don't know. Maybe it's nostalgia. But it's clear good graphic design too. It's working.
It's nostalgia because oh, I love it.
I got to rip that off.
Those were the days.
It's like like look at this kick, this Jean-Claude Van Damme kick that Cap did.
When did Bloodsport come out?
Yeah.
Late
80s.
80s.
No.
88?
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
88, 89.
somebody could
No
have been
fat
watching
check.
Bloodsport like
Drawing.
on TV, drawing it.
Bloodsport, top 5 movie for Evan?
Really?
Top 5 movie
I believe
for
it.
Evan?
I mean, I've watched it enough just because it's on.
Yeah. Yep. It's like watching Roadhouse.
Yeah.
It's on. I'm just gonna watch it, and it's good enough to. It's like a.
It was on.
It's like a music album that's not your favorite album, but it's
Yeah.
hits.
It's good enough that you don't want to change away from it.
Yeah, and it like hits like just your normal emotions, like in a normal day, so you can just like listen to it almost at any time. Anyway, and then Cap's on the AIM rider thing. He jumps onto Modam, and hits the power beacon,
Modem?
the modem. He shuts off the dial tone or the dial up, and then
29 baud receipt.
and then he's got to save this person here. And Diamondback crawls out of this little fountain thing after it looks like she's drowned Snapdragon. So like,
I feel like 400 things happened in this book.
this is like a graphic novel in like 20 pages. How many pages is this thing? 1, 2,
It's 22.
3, 4,
All of those were 22, I think.
5,
And it was all the same artist.
6, 7. Yeah.
I wonder if he was like shopping around to see who would pick up.
12.
Hey, I want to draw for.
I'll draw everybody just in case.
Hey guys, I can do it. I can do them all. See,
Quick, hire
look
me
at my
before
book.
the bubble
23.
bursts.
Look at my book.
23?
This dude deserved it. I hope he made some money off of this stuff. But I know that Cap was famously a low seller for a long time. But there's a lot to like in a lot of those Cap issues. He definitely increased the sales. You know, I don't dislike Rob Liefeld. He does his own thing. But I think there's a charm to the Mark Grunwald stuff too that maybe I appreciate more. No, I definitely do. I definitely appreciate the Mark Grunwald Cap better.
Alex, what do you got?
I have
Yes,
two things.
2.
One of them I will pass over to Aaron. Actually, I'll hand them both over. One is the
Hand them to me.
first comic that I remember getting, which is Spider-Man Team Up featuring Avengers, Webs of Time. And then my first indie comic ever without realizing that it was an indie comic, Wetworks from Wildstorm.
I love that we bring up Wetworks with you like once a month. It's kind of funny.
Make sure that everyone gets a good look at that corner box.
You know, shocking.
Oh, yeah.
That is bad.
Oh, the
Yeah.
corner box, the 3D one.
Oh, it's very poorly done.
They were very excited to have anything in 3D.
I know.
Back in '96, 95. They realized they could do it. In '96, they were like, "Oh boy, we don't have any money for that anymore." Yikes! But one thing that I wish they would do is a crossover with Batman and Wetworks, especially like the Rob Pattinson.
Yeah, that could be
Wetworks,
cool.
because he's so wet.
Yeah, very just moist, like a moist Batman.
The moistest Batman.
Well, welcome
So-
back to Wet Batman. Oh, I knocked it.
Yeah. So the Webs of Time book is kind of like Aaron's book of, hey, here's everybody doing Spider-Man story stuff. Like, it's just a mishmash of everything
I think I knocked out the headphones again.
with like a really bad Kang twinge to it by the end because they don't really talk about it for the majority of the book. And then all of a sudden, it was a Kang robot the whole time.
Wetworks. What was the premise of Wetworks?
Wetworks was a team of mercenaries, and I believe that particular story arc dealt with that group trying to wipe out a hive of vampires.
It's a mercenaries versus vampires kind
Yeah,
of.
at least for that story arc. Like, I only realized once I found these books fairly recently that it was like issue 32 of a run, but it was like numbers 1 through 4
Was
of
that
the
Spider-Man?
miniseries.
Oh, this?
Yes.
I think so. This is very like Neil Adamsy in here.
But
Probably a
there's-
Continuity
There's just
Studios
like
guy.
lots of. It's sort of like an anthology book of sorts because like each chapter is done by sort of a different creative team.
Listed in the back. Or the
Howard
middle.
John.
Listed
Hill.
somewhere weirdly in the middle. Like the bullpen page comes first, and then like 4 pages later is the actual like creative team.
Barforama.
Barforama.
That's exciting. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
What was Barforama?
It's the funniest, grossest book series ever. Cockroach-filled burritos, balloons filled with diaper gravy. Who will win the gross out war? Read the Great Puke Off to
Hi,
find
Tessa.
Oh, we have Tessa, Mama's Geeky
Oh, we
in
have-
the
we
chat.
have royalty among us.
What?
Oh, we miss you too.
Why aren't you to premiere or something?
I'm
Shouldn't you be
I'm
filming
so glad
content.
I'm so glad you showed up while we're looking at Barforama.
Barforama.
The Legend of Big Fart, Mucus Mansion,
Yeah, these are perfect. You know,
Garbage Time, and Dog Do Afternoon.
Tessa's doing the red carpets in LA, and we're talking about Fart
Yeah.
Book from
Oh, yeah.
1996.
I wouldn't have it any
No
other way.
Pinocchio.
No Pinocchio.
No Pinocchio.
So, like, as I was looking at the dates of this stuff, this is from September of 1996, and then the Wetworks book was September of 1997. So, like, within a year, I was like, okay, you know, I like superhero. Yeah,
Combo Man.
I like the combo man thing.
Combo Man thing.
Man,
Combo man thing.
we're getting pretty deep there.
It's an old man podcast tonight.
Combo
It's-
man,
combo.
but man thing, but combo man thing too.
Tessa says she was actually invited to a red carpet tonight, just to rub
course.
it in. But We miss you. We
It's
really
okay.
do.
We know you're cooler than us.
I stayed
It's
in an
fine.
Airbnb over the weekend, and there was a red carpet to the door of the Airbnb. It had leaves all over it, but it was still a red carpet.
Nice try, but you are no mama's geeky.
Well, I never claimed to be. I've been around a carpet that's color is red. That's all I claimed.
Red carpet.
Heroes Reborn.
Mm-hmm.
They're back, baby. Rob Liefeld.
Sellers.
They were. They were.
That's a
know.
pretty hunky cap too.
This guy. They.
We have not seen
Hunked to the
Barbarian yet,
max.
but I did see your post about it earlier, and it piqued my interest. So
Yeah, a lot of good posts I've seen from people on that.
Oh yeah, some.
I can't wait to have it spoiled before I see it.
This is the
see, you just have to be like
from
me and
Onslaught.
somehow be even less media driven. So when Tessa posts things, I learn about new stuff, and then sometimes Reddit tells me about things, and that's about the full gamut there.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, I watch less and less YouTube just because I have the baby and
Somehow you're drifting further and further off camera too.
me.
Yep. I feel like we're like on top of
It's
one
what it was
another.
last
It's
week-
so
last
weird.
week,
Just
too.
want me to get closer and closer to you, right, Evan?
No, I don't know what to do.
Is this close enough?
One lap.
All right, let's keep going.
If you
Broadcasting
just
live from Evan
hug-
Coy's lap. It's me, the Sorcerer Supreme, Aaron Z. Lee. Ooh, a shirtless Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I gave myself a refresher of this before I came over and just saw the absolute epitome of mediocrity for some of the characters, the way they were drawn at this point in time in the
This
90s.
is by far the worst Thor I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life.
It's just blonde guy with hammer.
And it's
Which
nothing
is-
against the artist.
That was
No,
what he,
he
looked
was
like
told to
then.
do
I
this.
know, but that's
Yeah,
what I'm
because
saying.
that was like the Thor 500 period. Warren Ellis, I think, was writing it at that point.
Yikes. Yikes, Warren.
He likes paychecks.
Do better. Yeah, who doesn't? Who doesn't? Ooh, nice Derek Robertson cap. That's kind of fun. So if you ever wondered what the artist of The Boys, how he would draw,
There
cap,
it
there
is.
it is. It
What
exists.
about the artist of Transmat? What was it cap look like?
The same,
Ah.
actually. Oh, hey, we got
Casey Woods.
Casey, what was your first
Whoa.
comic?
What was your first comic, Casey?
Oh,
No
that's what a
idea.
cop out. What a cop out.
Oh man,
Just say it was Spider-Man or something. We're looking at a Spider-Man book that I found
yeah,
in mine.
Spider-Man team up.
Stab at it. My
Get on the
first
microphone.
Get on that hot mic.
If I had to take a stab at it, my first comic book was probably actually a Spider-Man comic book.
We got some Ben Riley all up in this.
Tessa says my first comic book was a Sergeant Rock book. I remember having that
Whoa.
conversation with her. that-
Okay.
Was it your father was into Sergeant Rock? I don't remember.
That's pretty hardcore. If your first book is Sergeant Rock, I hope it was a Joe Kubert issue.
That's a phenomenal shirt, by the way.
Thank you, thank you. Glad someone noticed.
Well, I must have got my days crossed, so I'm gonna.
Oh, there's two Spider-Man.
So I think
Next Tuesday, Miniatures Night is an aside for the podcast and anybody who's listening that likes Warhammer or miniatures. Casey showed up for Miniature Night.
I was told it was today.
You have to look at the Discord where only 6 people actually look
Casey,
or
let
respond.
me give you a lesson here about the comic shop. When you schedule things, everyone goes out of their way to change it on you, to the point where you're just sobbing, sitting over there.
Martin's been
for 2
trying
days.
diligently over the past
Desperately.
month
Desperately.
to plan out things a little bit better here, and I feel like every time we set something on a calendar, it changes. Oh, Liz is here too. Liz, what was your first
Hello.
comic?
Casey bought me my first comic, so it was
So it was bad.
Mamo.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's yeah.
What was
It's
that?
like 3 years ago, right?
No.
Not even.
Probably a year ago.
Yeah.
M-A-M-A-M-O.
Yeah, there's
Mamo.
5 or 6 in the series.
Limited run.
It's
What's
about a witch.
Okay.
I like it.
Okay. I like witchy books.
Saw a book about a witch and thought of her instantly. That's
No, I made him buy it.
That's kind of-
I was like, this looks nice, and he's like, then you've got it.
That's how my wife gets any comics. Is she likes it, and I buy her the whole series and the trade paperback, and she might read it someday.
I convinced Sarah to read Monstrous.
Yeah. Did she like it?
Oh yeah,
She did, yeah.
she bought some of the physical versions of it and then bought a whole bunch on Comixology because she didn't want to wait.
not sponsored.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't go
Yeah,
to Comixology.
yeah, we're
Please
not-
come
Just say the
to
name more.
the comic shop at
112
170
East
Bridge
Bridge
Street.
Street.
The
The comic shop.
Or just Yep. All right.
Peace out.
Sorry, Case.
So long.
Don't be.
Until next time.
The Sugo Comic Shop
Come
does a
on
podcast.
Tuesday and we'll build a Kragnos.
Apologizing since 2020.
All right, we've got
don't know what's
We have all the guests today.
Who is our next guest walking through the door?
The next guest is the revolving door of anyone who feels like coming through the back door of the comic shop.
What's funny, all of a sudden I saw you looking, and I'm like, wait, what's going on? It's, oh, Casey's just standing there. All right, where are we?
I thought Phil heard
This
deer.
is a really nice like these are some really nice illustrations here. I really like how that cap looks.
I like.
There's a better Thor.
I
hate
think
those
you're. I
colors.
think you're in like the chapter 2 or 3 part of like this.
Did they
like
go
the
back in time?
3 or 4 chapters, and whatever the creative team for this, like it was a little more interesting for me to look
Is
at visually.
someone punching a child in this?
Probably.
It was the
might
90s.
be-
They did these things.
So it might be like the young Tony Stark, because for some reason he's like the time shifted Tony Stark in an Iron Man suit for a bunch of this book.
Oh, I love this. This is like when Photoshop starts to get used, and it's like, what's going to make Quicksilver look faster? I know, Gaussian blur. Just throw some
Oh.
Gaussian blur on.
I
it.
have a.
Does
I
he
have
at least have
a-
2 legs?
I have a Gaussian
No.
blur nightmare story from this week that I'll tell you after the podcast, Aaron.
Oh, excellent. Whoa, we got a little zombie guy with the shirt there. And some
This is probably what
rumble.
the appeal was for this book for me, was the fact that like the superheroes were being maimed, and
some Black Widow action here.
like there's not an express reason why. It's like Spider-Man's bad, but not really.
I do kind of like this this piping on the Black Widow suit. That doesn't bother me so much. And look, here's like the Avengers, but they're super tiny. I don't mind that lineup. So small. We got some Crystal, some Vision, some Scarlet Witch, Quicksilver, Hawkeye, and Black Widow. That's a pretty good lineup.
Yeah,
I got no complaints about that. We got some more not Jeeves. What's his name? Jarvis. Got some Gyrick.
Ask Jarvis. Yeah, that was a good website.
Yeah, it's Jarvis. Well, how come they? Marvel needs to get on that as like a spoof thing.
Because that's relevant.
How is it not relevant? That Iron
that
Man
they
is
could
real
have
ugly.
spoofed Ask Jarvis for the entirety of like the Iron Man movies.
Oh, that actually would have been kind of funny.
Because why wouldn't Stark Industries be like
Yeah.
a Google?
Yep,
Why wouldn't they?
because Google is still Google.
Opportunity missed. Well, I mean, they could do an analog. And then we got the Quinjet. This is fun. It's very 1996, but it's still on the glossy paper, which surprises me because I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
the stuff from 96 was back on newsprint.
Yeah.
Which Spider-Man costume is that?
Both of them are in this, both the Ben
Okay.
Reilly and the
Okay.
and the classic. It's funny whenever I see the classic Ben Reilly costume, all I see is Spider Girl now
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Yep.
because they adapted it. Whoa, that Thor is so bad. It's like if Tom Cruise was Thor or something. Like
Oh
I just because his torso is so shrunk.
Sure.
Whoa,
I'm
the
sure that was a
worst-
wizard casting call at some point.
The worst Wasp I've ever seen.
Is that when she was a wasp?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's like crying too. That's terrible. Yikes.
I've always wanted to read that run of Avengers because it just
So-
looks like so many bad choices.
Oh, did you
like,
guys see House
maybe
Arrest? I
this
watched
is
that.
the reason why So I played baseball or whatever, AA with Adam around the time that Arlene opened the store. So it almost makes me wonder if this is like I went to the grocery store and picked up the comic book, and then I played like Little League, and then my mom has a comic book store.
Hey, let's do 30 seconds of what works, and then
Yeah,
Martin,
yeah,
do you want to take the pilot seat for Hulk or
No,
you-
Aaron,
you-
Aaron can go through it.
This is just a fun one to flip through because it's like my first image book.
I love this black and white interior page
Yeah.
too with the character.
Baby's first image book.
Yeah, and
Aw.
it's just like
Sacraments of Damnation
Yeah.
for little Alex.
12-year-old Alex.
Oh, Pat Lee did the pencils on this thing.
Yeah.
That is interesting to me.
What else did Pat Lee do?
Didn't he do
Transformers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Transformers? Did he do? There was a Dark Minds
Yep.
book he did too that was hot for a minute.
Yeah, I forgot what the name of that company was.
It wasn't Udon. It was something else. Very like kind of anime tinged style. Oh yeah, look at that little vampire chomp action going on. The Will Spartasio vibes are
Yeah,
strong in this one.
definitely.
But what a stark shift from the like team up whatever Spider-Man book where they nebulously fight Kang, and on the last page they just give you a quick resolution and go, I don't know, maybe buy the next team up if you want to, but if you don't, nobody cares because there's probably only going to be a few of these.
Are we going to comment on the Spawn record?
Yeah, I was looking at that just now.
love this CD when
It's
it
a
came out.
really good CD.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I really dug that when
It
that
was
came
all metal and electronic mashup.
Yeah, I dig it.
What if it's on Spotify?
Oh, it definitely is. But I blame that for a lot of my musical taste now too. Yeah, this is. Oh, look at this! Some negative space.
That's fun.
Yeah, and it's not quite like John Byrne Snowblind level. That's fun. Yeah, that negative space. Sometimes you got to do that. Sometimes the image got so dark that you got to have some weight in there too. John Cassaday, Rutrow, Gen 13 bootleg. I heard good things about that stuff. And Walter Simonson.
Casey
getting in on
says his amendment to his statement is his first comic was New X-Men.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That seems wrong.
That's way too new to be his first comic.
I don't know.
Unless he was like an adult when he got his first comic, which is possible, I guess.
Martin may even remember if he thinks back hard
Yeah.
enough. Casey was a neighborhood child.
It's not that one. It's the one under Evan's book.
Okay. Just this one?
Yep. That's the part 2.
The Incredible Honk.
Martin, you want to walk us through? This is your first comic.
This is my first comic. It is very old because I'm very old. I was 4 or 5 when I picked this out. I vaguely remember the trip, but I definitely remember that opening page. Yeah, it's Incredible Hulk. This is just after he has become Bruce Banner, and the Hulk can switch back and forth. Hulk is intelligent at this point.
Oh, wow.
So
It's such a better Avengers lineup on this page.
Yeah.
Holy.
Well, can we get who the artists and writers of this book? Because I feel like it's a pretty all-star team.
Bill Mantlo, Sal Buscema, and Joe Sinnott. So Sal Buscema pencils and Joe Sinnott on finishes and inks.
Bob Sharon is the letterer. Jim Novak is the editor. So yeah, I think it's what that ran through.
The Bill Mantlo story, Martin,
Yeah,
I think it was kind of sad.
I don't know if a lot of people actually know who he is. He was a mainstay writer at Marvel through the 70s and 80s especially. More or less, they brought him in to do fill-ins, where they would have these drawer copies of comics when books got behind. And he was very skilled at doing these, getting good done-in-one stories that would fit in. Then eventually he moved on to Incredible Hulk. He did Micronauts. He actually brought that series in from the licensor. He created Rocket Raccoon, who I'm sure most of you are familiar with. No. And Cloak and Dagger.
Rocket Raccoon, is
Yeah.
that some relation to Power Possum?
It is not.
Oh.
But during his career at Marvel, he went to law school, and he continued writing up through then became a public defender. In 1992, he was walking down the street, got hit by
He was
a car.
rollerblading.
Was it rollerblading?
Just to make it 1992.
Even more.
What's his ponytail status in 1992?
And
He's a lawyer, though.
he's a lawyer.
That doesn't mean much.
Okay.
He
In
could have an
1992.
epic, like a nice tight back of the tail.
Yeah, hit and run. I don't think they ever found the person that
Oh,
did it.
jeez.
Severe brain damage. He has been institutionalized since then. I erroneously thought he had passed away this afternoon. I was quite surprised.
I thought he had as well, because I vaguely recall that, but apparently he's just been
So, yeah,
not
not
in
a
a
happy
coma,
story.
but like brain damage for like.
That's all the more unfortunate to just be
There was
sort
one
of in limbo for that long.
Yep.
There was one CBR story, because I thought he was dead too. But it was a CBR story a couple years ago of his brother passing, and his brother was his caretaker. And I guess the people in the industry really he seemed like a really good guy. He did a couple things for him to try to like keep his name going and try to make money to take care of him. And but unfortunately, his brother passed like 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
It's very sad.
When he took this book on, and for the first bit of his run, he self-described as he just basically retold these Hulk smash stories. And his editor came to him and was like, if you want to do something else, you can. And so he came up with the idea of merged Hulk, where it's Bruce Banner can control the Hulk. And this is kind of like the beginning of that journey. The leader in this is testing him and determines that Savage Hulk was much more of a threat and merged Hulk not so much.
if I were to draw a comic, this is how I would lay the comic out. This is so traditional, all of the panel arrangements and things like that. It maybe to some it's very basic, but to me this is how like the ground floor of storytelling in a comic is.
Well, if you go back to the recap page, that's a little less basic.
What was the recap page?
It was the helmet, and then
But then that's no. These are all very traditional layouts that I
This
enjoy.
one. Kind of in the
okay.
reflection of the helmet, kind of an arc of a layout of. Some
But yeah,
different events there.
nothing like groundbreaking or dynamic.
The
no.
evolution of man, but Hulk.
But solid storytelling. There's something to be
yeah.
said about that, because when you can't figure out what's going on, like you lose the whole impact of the story. And like the structure allows you to do stuff like this transformation where it goes from this green to blue to skin tone in the blue. Like that's really nice. And this open panel with Hulk is
I
really
like that a
nice.
lot.
Like there's a lot of really good design choices here. You don't always have to break the system in order to make it
As I've
exciting.
seen you flip back and forth a few times, the two after now, where it's like Hulk sideways with whatever the pink pressure wave is.
Yeah, one more.
This way?
Yeah. Like I keep seeing that. It's like, that's it's sort of a ridiculous but appealing color scheme for me.
Yeah, it's not complimentary, but complimentary adjacent.
I love the lettering in this book too. I
Yeah.
feel like nowadays you don't get these big goofy sound effects in Marvel books. They're much more restrained. And that's stuff I love. Give me a big goofy crash.
Yeah, it's not that serious. It's a
Give
comic
me
book.
a sparong.
Really get in there and
The
make it fun.
hand-drawn typography was certainly a different thing. Like,
But-
I don't know how much of that you'd pull off now and have the same feel because so much of it's digital.
Like that's something that like a Clayton Cole's, for as much as he letters everything, he doesn't
all
have
digital.
He doesn't have a
Yeah.
ton of effects that he uses. I mean, he uses effects every once in a while, and I think
Yeah.
even when we talked to him the one time, like he took pride in doing a couple like little things that look good, but like it's not the typography of old.
Yeah.
And that's not. I mean, it's just what the industry is asking for.
Yeah.
You know, at this point, and he's able to letter so much faster using digital than if it was traditional. But there certainly is something to traditional. I mean, I letter my stuff digitally too, partially because I like write it as I'm doing the lettering in a lot of cases. And it's
Martin,
just
tell us
easier to
more
do.
about this book.
Well, one of the things that sticks out to me is the fact is how much action is in this book, which is the same as Aaron's and as Alex's, which I think is interesting to note. I don't think we see as many like just all out brawls anymore.
No,
There's a
not
lot of
really.
talking heads nowadays.
Yeah, easier to draw. But the leader in here, this is how I was introduced to the leader. So when I got into comics, much more in the '90s, they had the new leader who had like the double cranium,
The meatball head.
thing. Yeah, and I'm like, that's not the leader. I don't like this. Also, Captain Marvel in here, who is Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
That's my Captain Marvel. That's the first one I was introduced to. So
My first introduction to the leader was in the Thunderbolts run where he was red, and it was the Red Thunderbolts team.
yeah. With Red Hulk and
Red Hulk,
Yep.
Red Punisher.
yeah, everybody was. Was Elektra in that too?
Elektra was
Yeah,
briefly in it. Yeah, anybody that they could pull that had a red costume, or they could color shift red within reason. But Red Leader was great because he was a shell of himself. But then in the end of that story arc, was still the one that was pulling the strings.
Red Leader said just so they could have a Star Wars reference.
Gold Leader.
Gold Leader, Red Leader.
This is Red Leader.
They just clone a bunch of leaders and just have them be all different colors.
That'd be, I mean, like an ensemble of leaders, all
Like
chromatic.
the Council of Reeds. But this is a great Avengers team, though. Thor, Captain Marvel, Captain America, Iron Man, Wasp, Hawkeye, She-Hulk.
Yep.
Yeah, She-Hulk's doing some stuff.
Yeah, this was the beginning of her resurgence after her Savage series was canceled.
Savagely canceled.
Yes,
Savagely
and
severed.
President Reagan's got a cameo in the flashback there.
Tessa said
Oh.
that the leader is coming back. In what?
Ooh.
In Pog form.
Oh, yeah, it's a Pog?
So when I was going through all this stuff after my dad moved, I found an entire book of Pog collection stuff, but also a Pog maker.
A Pog maker.
Yeah, like you can put anything into it, and it's just a little razor disc, and you crank it down, and you make a Pog. I'll
Does
bring
the
it to the
comic
shop.
need comic
Yeah.
shop pogs?
This is where I bought a lot of my pogs growing up.
Martin, do you want to? Is there any other Hulk stuff you want to look at? Let's do with the first of Rocket Raccoon first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Tessa says. Jonathan says, "Hell yeah!" Tessa says it was announced at D23. Did you guys miss it?
I didn't watch a lot of
I didn't watch
D23.
I didn't miss it.
I didn't
Scott
watch any
Bandel
of
let
it.
us know about that.
Okay.
I think it happened like as I was going back to teaching.
Jonathan said they've announced the leader in Captain America: New World Order.
Interesting.
Ooh, I love Sam Wilson as Cap.
Me too.
I'm just gonna say it.
Rocket Raccoon,
So
Rocket
which
Reagan.
I've read all of in classic format, and boy oh boy, that whole story is just off the wall insanity.
there's an argument that this actually isn't the first Rocket Raccoon.
Marvel fanfare or something.
Marvel, where there's a character that appears that's a raccoon, but he's called by a different name.
Oh.
But it's
I think there's a combined Rocket and Groot classic that has like the first appearance of Groot when he's still the alien from Planet X, and
Yeah.
Skrakow.
but I think it's very much the same thing. Rocket
Shruv
Raccoon was like a little raccoon-like character in an aside. Yes.
Snicker.
Mama's Geeky
Snacker.
says, Tessa says, Tim Blake Nelson reprising the role.
Oh, thank goodness.
Jonathan does a happy dance.
Yeah, they had to bring back
Happy Dance.
Tim Blake Nelson for that. I'm excited for that. I think that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
I thought the Falcon and Winter Soldier series is also excellent on Disney Plus.
I'm so behind on all of things that involve pop culture.
Have you watched The Good Doctor?
No,
He's on Disney Plus now too.
no. I have to. I will watch it on definitely my account.
I took a minute to realize what you were talking about. I'm like, The Good Doctor. That's a
Not
dumb
not,
show.
not that show. My primary physician, Dr. Stephen Strange.
The one
Trucker
the,
Strange.
Trucker Strange, yeah.
Trucker Strange.
Copyrighted, trademarked. Don't even try it.
I love this clown in space that Rocket Raccoon is killing.
Yeah, like that whole story arc is absolute insanity. Where like there's these clowns that are outside of they're not outside of the orbit of the planet. They're on the planet and they regularly show up to like destroy the happy times of the animals in like the fun time colony.
Oh, weird. Does this predate the Killer Clowns from Outer
Outer
Space?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh,
I was
by-
just Googling that because I couldn't remember the name
by a
of
little
it.
bit.
Look at this. This
Killer
is
Clowns from Outer Space was like early 90s, like maybe 92, 93, I want to say.
this is arguably the
I
best
think it's a little
era
earlier than
of
that, but yes, whatever.
of X-Men. It's like
X-Man's.
with like this crew, arguably one of the best ever. Certainly one of the most iconic. I mean, they based the side-scrolling game on this era, so
Womp
pretty
womp.
good.
Sorry, guys.
Lies.
Deceit.
Disappointment.
Well, I mean, one can acquire
No side scroller.
What if we just get like
mod.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots and I make vinyl and like put it over them? Like
Doesn't
a
have the
like a
same appeal.
Sentinel and Colossus.
Oh, I like this little Dungeons and Dragons ad in the back here. This is fun.
Martin, any final words about Hulk or your first Hulk?
Hulk
Actually,
smash.
We didn't even mention there's an autograph on that.
Oh yeah, yep.
Let me
Sunday
just-
Brian got that for me
let me
at
just-
New York one year.
Let me read
Really?
this
Yep.
quote here down here. I have a brain, but I must scream.
Very
So-
insightful. That was a very wordy book, by the way. There was a lot of text going on.
This
in
thing?
there. Yeah.
Chris Claremont read it.
Honk. Not
No.
this one, but
Things that had
is this
Rocket
Joe
Raccoon in
Sinnott?
it were
Yep, that's what's in it.
Wow.
a block of exposition on every page.
Is Joe Sinnott still around?
I don't know.
Never fact check anything. Make a quick snap decision.
Yes.
Yes,
He's
there you
gonna
go.
live forever. That's a fact.
All right, I think you're up, Evan.
Oh man! All right,
Are we
so,
swapping spots?
No, you're good.
Oh, I get to be in the driver's seat still.
You're the Vanna White of this production, sir.
Well, I am the prettiest.
So this is
Alex Dexter begs to differ, and there will
I
be.
got a fresh haircut.
I didn't even
This is
compliment you on your
fresh-ish.
haircut today. I don't have any hair. I know I didn't shave my head. I shaved my mustache off today. That had run its course. Go back to the cover here.
It was there.
Barely. A couple wisps. Star Trek issue 16. This is February
Nerd.
of 1991, or is it
Nerd.
1990? 91, I think.
I think it's 91.
February.
Um,
Picture it. February 1991.
Star date.
Young Evan Coy
So I was-
sick on his deathbed.
I was 9 years old. I believe you're 9 years old in like third grade. And I was sick on my deathbed. And as the story goes, my dad went to the 7-Eleven around the corner. And my dad is a middling Star Trek fan. Like, I wouldn't say he's a huge Star Trek fan, but I do find it funny when sometimes I'm home visiting him. He's watching it on like the MeTV channel.
Sure.
Like he'll watch the old Star Treks.
You're lucky
And,
that he
uh,
watches that on MeTV and not some of the other
Bill
stuff.
says Killer Clowns was 88, so maybe it was in a very similar time frame as Rocket.
Well, that was 83.
No, Rocket was like 81 or 82.
that
Oh,
was
was it
that was
really?
like 5 years
Okay,
before
so
Killer
there you go.
Clown.
But this is before they invented pediatric medicine, is my joke, because I think he got me saltine crackers, some ginger ale, and this Star Trek comic. And I don't recall ever reading a comic book beforehand. I mean, I guess it's possible. What's it doing? Is it going to touch? Is it going to touch?
Sometimes when they touch.
Oh. So yeah, I just remember dissecting this book, like trying to figure out, because I wasn't a Star Trek fan, but I was just so fascinated by like, what is this? And it's so weird that over 30 years later,
Your hatred for Star Trek has only grown.
Captain Kirk can go to hell. No,
no, William Shatner can.
I'm surprised at how much of this book I remember. That like there are certainly things that I've forgotten, but the story just came back so quickly. Even the letter page. When we get to the letter page, I think there's a like interesting anecdote there that like I remember the letter page, and I think it was one of these things that I just dissected and went over and over again. And then I remember getting 3 or 4 comic books for Easter. So this must have been fast forward another month or two. So let's say this is February. I'm not sure when street dates, if this really actually came out in February, or if it came out in January, whatever. It doesn't
So
matter.
did you like rise on Easter after your deathbed, or
Yeah. Well, yes. They buried me in a tomb.
He is our Messiah.
Yes.
How many days are in there?
technically in some ways?
All right. Okay. I remember getting a
Glory
few.
to the comic shop,
112 East Bridge Street.
the
Comic
comic shop.
shop.
Remember getting like a Batman in an Easter basket, and I don't recall the other 2 or 3 comics, but I think I got 3 or 4 comics for Easter. And then that summer, we took a trip to Washington D.C. And I remember I got to buy like 3 or 4 comic books from like the Wegmans to read in the car ride down to D.C. And I feel like that's where I got my first Spider-Man. I got Spider-Man Deadly Foes of Spider-Man because it was a #1, and I thought that #1.
Yeah.
And then quickly realizing that you could jump right into Amazing and it doesn't really matter. But the art, who drew this thing? Gordon Purcell.
I've heard that name before. I think he's done other stuff.
He's done X-Files, Xena Warrior, Princess, Lost in Space, Godzilla, Young Indiana Jones Chronicles, Barbed Wire, of course, and The Terminator. But he's mostly known for his very photorealistic, or not
Which
photorealistic.
is probably why he was on so many of the licenses.
Yeah.
He's good at
properties.
likenesses.
He's good at likenesses, and I do feel like all the likenesses in there, Martin, I think, agreed with me. Like,
Yep.
they're very spot on. Like, it's very well illustrated.
Ooh, a bubble bath.
And then it was Jerome Moore did the cover.
Yep, Jerome K. Yep.
And
Well,
again,
I follow on Facebook. One
again,
of the 2 creators who survived.
super realistic, beautiful cover.
I wonder if he did any stuff for Eclipse. I feel like there's a lot of Eclipse stuff that looks like that. Maybe.
But the premise of this book, which I thought was good, actually, it's written by J. Michael Straczynski. I think Peter David. I think Peter David wrote the first 15 issues of this, and then there's a comment in the letter column that we're going to address. But the story is there's a planet that's dying; it's imploding. They've been sent to this planet to make sure that everybody's evacuated, and of course, there's one life form that's left.
Yes.
And
Star Trek.
This being has returned to the planet now that it's dying because this being was there when the planet was created, and he's listened to this world's song the entire time, and he wants to hear the last few notes of this world's song before it dies, and he's going to die with the planet.
Okay.
It's very Doctor Who.
Yeah. So, who is it? It's Bones, Kirk, and Spock
Yes.
try to convince him, this alien being, to like don't die here. Life is worth living. Come back on the ship with us, and he won't do it. I've listened to this world sing my whole life, and I'm going to listen to the final notes.
Jonathan says Babylon 5.
Yes.
Also fair.
J. Michael Straczynski
Yeah.
wrote
you didn't hear me
Babylon
whisper, that's
5. He was a Babylon 5.
Which a possible reboot could be coming to
Firefly.
The CW?
See whatever it is now. Is it
So
CW?
anyway,
Really?
Kirk tells Spock and Bones to go back up to the ship because things are getting crazy. I'm going to stay here with this alien. The alien's not going to let me die. Eventually, I will convince him to come up to the ship.
With sex.
In true Star Trek
It's
fashion.
true Star Trek. Yeah, Kirk's
Kiss the green alien.
That's what Kirk is all about.
Yeah, he's
Zap Brannigan.
boning down aliens.
Better living through love.
So anyway, Kirk eventually convinces the alien. The alien says something like, "I'm going to die here, or you're going to take me up to your ship, and I'm going to kind of kill myself." Like, because this is my whole life listening to this planet sing, and it's over. So Kirk convinces him to go back to the ship, and it's kind of like a sad ending where I almost feel like, Kirk, just let the alien die with the planet. Like, that's what for billions of years he's been around. Like, just let him go, but Kirk won't do that. So in the end, kind of Kirk is responsible for the alien potentially killing himself off screen. So.
And here, young Evan is laying on his deathbed, reading a grim fairy tale.
Yeah,
Just please let
Dumb
me
alien,
die.
I just want to live.
it's kind of a weird ending that it's like you would think that like the alien would have where Kirk would be like, no, I understand.
Was this
Like,
an ongoing series? Or?
This was, and so if we go to the letter column, actually, there's an interesting part about Peter David, written the previous issues. He is off currently writing a next gen miniseries and the annual for this series. And why is this book late? This book is a month late, and it basically goes into the issues that they have. I mean, it doesn't go specifically, but like working with Paramount to create these books takes more time, and we apologize for the delay. We think we've worked out the delays in the future. To which Martin can kind of chime in on this, because I was unaware of this, I guess. But
Apparently Paramount is extremely difficult to deal with, which led to a lot of problems when Marvel had its Paramount imprint. But in cases like this, they're very, very protective of the stories and the character likenesses. A lot of times, each of the actors has approval rights.
Oh.
Which apparently, especially like the Next Generation period, Patrick Stewart was problematic a lot of times. That's how he was portrayed.
Old Pat
you said that
Stew.
Peter David has been particularly vocal about this.
Yeah, whoever was their liaison with Paramount hated him. They would submit a script and they would want all these weird changes for no reason. But if a similar script was submitted with a different name on it, there were no notes like that. And that led to a lot of problems with their time. There was also some kind of I don't remember the specifics, but at the time when Next Generation launched, the DC did a miniseries which was supposed to spin off into an ongoing, but that didn't happen because there were so many problems with the licensing that they ended up missing all of season 1 and coming in like middle of season 2 or something, which derailed both the original series comic and the Next Generation one to the point where they were both actually just relaunched, which would be commonplace now because it's all that we experience now are relaunches. But
it's just so funny that
It keeps it so fresh.
I remember reading this, again, knowing nothing about comics, reading this thing in the letter column, like explaining delays in production, and then 30 years later I see it and I go, oh, I read this letter column before. Like, just the memories that are
what
jarred.
sticks, yep.
Additionally, there's one other
Well, because
thing.
when you're a kid and like there's something you're interested in and you can read it, you read like everything and then you read it again because like
It's the material you have.
yeah, it's not like the internet where you can just keep on scrolling.
Additionally, there's one letter in here from I like to sometimes Google the names of the people who write letters to see if they've done anything creative. And yeah, to see, what they look like. No, Glenn Greenberg writes a letter about the top 10 cool things about Star Trek 1 through 12. And Glenn Greenberg went on to write a Marvel miniseries or Marvel series that 6 years later for that Paramount imprint, Uncharted. Was that? I forget what it was.
There's Unlimited. There was
But he
Starfleet
also
Academy.
He also went on to do. He did several comics, mostly Star Trek, and then he went on to do novels for Star Trek that were relatively successful. So I do think it's funny that the letter hack who maybe he was 18 years old writing this gets his job writing Star Trek comics at 24, starts writing Star Trek novels in his early 30s, and like there's that connection there that's kind of romantic. I like that.
I wonder sometimes in that time frame if it was like a morale boost for somebody like that to have their letter published.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
Maybe propelled them forward, that like I feel seen, and maybe my words matter.
I wish I had the wherewithal to write okay to print. When the only time I ever wrote to Marvel is just saying, please give Wolverine his nose back.
2-time letter hack here published.
Bam.
Yeah, you got some
I got
Deadpool.
one in
Bam.
Deadpool and one in X-Man that was printed about 20 months later and no longer really applied to the quality of that book.
Even better.
But Kurt Busiek, however you say his name, yeah, he started out as a letter hack.
He's a Syracuse alumnus.
Yep. Him and Scott McCloud were high school friends and college roommates. At
Yes,
Syracuse?
that's right. 100% correct. We
Yeah.
don't
No,
fact
it is.
check that.
I-
We don't
I'm-
fact
I'm-
check.
I know it is.
Never.
And one
fact check.
can and one teaches.
Just be confident.
One can and one teaches.
Which one? What? Don't they both?
Scott McCloud writes about how to make a comic book. Kurt actually makes them.
What was Scott McCloud's book he actually
He did Zot. He also did Sculptor. And Understanding
Sculptor was
Comics was a
good.
huge success.
Sculptor was. I enjoyed Sculptor a lot.
I haven't read it. It does look good. I am interested in Zot because it's right in that sweet spot for me of like
I don't know that one, but I'll have to look into it.
that Eclipse first comics, like 80s independent stuff.
Well, I think we've done it.
Well, I got a little bit extra here.
Okay, good.
So I posted on Facebook just asking people what their first comic was, and
Oh, my.
And one of our two
own
believers,
letters page.
Jonathan Ashline, chimed in claiming
But
that
wait, hold on. We need
What?
to acknowledge Martin's joke
what
of our stream. He calls them the two believers
The two believers.
because it's Jonathan Ashline and like one other person.
Twinkie and Peggy Bundy. It's
It's not true
Bill's
believers.
here,
It's two
two
believers.
believers.
Tessa's here.
Two-
I don't know.
two-
I'm technically a mod, so I can really look at the
Two believers. It's very good.
so yeah,
what is
But
it
yeah, he
for-
claims it was a Batman issue that he read, but I'm kind of doubtful. I think that's just revisionist history, and that he was probably just reading it mostly for the Hostess Twinkie ad.
How good was the ad, though? Was it a really good ad?
Who knows? It was for Twinkies.
I mean, some are pretty entertaining, like the Hostess fruit pies one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of that. In fact, I know somebody who's supposed to write the script for one.
I'll probably do that whenever you decide to actually publish. Comic Shop makes a comic 3.
Yeah, someday I'll remember to
Redux.
send either Aaron or Evan like the things that I drew while I was literally here doing them on stream, and then are in a finished enough version to send out. But like, yeah, that's we're going on what
Which will
almost a
come
year.
first?
Yeah,
Wesley 9 or Comic Shop does a comic
Wesley
3?
9.
7 months.
Wesley 9.
Ooh, the
Because it's
race
at
is
least
on.
halfway done, and it's just me doing everything. So
Thank you, Tessa. I appreciate you appreciating my humor. So
Yes.
thankful.
I don't know. Oh, Dragon Tempter is here
Ooh,
too.
I like that little squid thing.
Hello,
that they
Dragon
posted.
Tempter.
I enjoy that.
Someone's first comic was Cross Gen Chronicles,
Oh wow!
which we might have to have them on when we do our cross gen thing.
I was aware of CrossGen during the whole time, but I never pulled the trigger on a
Nothing?
single one.
Not a single one. Wow.
I
Yeah, a
just-
lot of Venom, Spider-Man related stuff.
I
Yeah,
found some of my
X-Men.
novels that I remember getting that were there was a Spider-Man and Venom novel that I had.
I read the whole. What
Like
was
a
it?
paperback.
Yeah.
Was
like
it
a
Christopher
full-size,
Golden?
yeah.
The X-Men trilogy that Christopher Golden did. I read all that. That was good.
Bo Stenson's first comic was Amazing Spider-Man 347, which might be my first Amazing Spider-Man comic, because I think my first Spider-Man, like I said, was Deadly Foes #1 because it had #1. But Amazing 347 had that beautiful Larson
Yeah,
cover
that's a
where
great cover.
he's holding the skull of Spider-Man. You know, last poor Spider-Man, I knew him well.
When the True Believers or it was a facsimile edition came out in 2019, Evan was very excited to see that.
Yeah.
Customer Evan.
Tessa says, all right, I got to go finish my Hellraiser review.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah. Thanks for fueling my procrastination. Tessa, we miss you too.
Miss you too.
Well, once
Thanks
you
for
get,
popping in.
once you get a permanent address and talk to Martin, we're going to send you some comics.
Bam.
And maybe we'll send you Martin. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll,
Anybody else in
California
chat
dreaming.
We'll put
that
him in
we
a box.
don't
and send
already
him.
know.
You know how much that shipping would be? That's not cost effective.
I like that we could do you could be the comic shop West Coast.
Yes. Oh, West. Yes.
But
You
what's
are the
what's
West
the
Coast
order
Avenger.
though? What's the better order? Comic Shop West Coast or West Coast Comic Shop?
Comic Shop West
Shop
Coast.
West
Comic
Coast.
Shop West Coast.
You want to explain that one?
Avengers West Coast was originally called West Coast Avengers, but because W and A are so far away from each other in the alphabet, Marvel felt that affected their sales negatively, so they renamed it Avengers West Coast, and then canceled it.
Yeah, because
Force Works.
yeah. Ooh, there's some real good bad art in those first few.
That's
Force.
awful, and that was a bait and switch too, but that's for a different topic.
Yes.
Because if you look at the Marvel Age promoting it, the artist gave them one thing there and then switched it up entirely and then got promptly fired.
Also, like, what committee comes up with Force Works as the name of a team?
I don't know.
Were they just like X Force? That's selling good.
Well, it's like the Justice League book Extreme Justice.
No,
Yeah.
we're losing Jonathan too. All right, let's
All
shut
right,
it down.
yes,
Let's
okay.
shut it down. here.
Shutting down.
Take us home, buddy.
You've been listening to the podcast that the Comic Shop does here in Oswego, New York, broadcasting live from the back of the closeted Cape Curtain land.
This makes no sense.
Yeah, we've been talking about our first comic like this one, like 413 of Captain America. Modam means murder. Pretty good. Look at Cap go. He's a great dude. Yeah, with me, your Sorcerer Supreme, Aaron Z. Lee.
I'm Evan Coy, Eternity Law. We're here with our regular guest star,
Alex Dexter.
and then we're here with our special guest star.
Martin Kinney.
Oh, I think that's it. Have a great night,
So long.
everybody.
Bye.